Okay, this is I don't know. This is really my second video on the actual project itself without the setting up of the other stuff. So here I am. It's initializing the PowerShell again. I restarted the computer. I was adding some stuff I didn't need to add, but there are a couple of things I need to change before I forget. This is how I use how that most people usually do it. I don't know if it's gonna work that way. We will figure it out. But one thing I forgot is on the app settings. No, yeah, on the app settings, we don't want to use this, so we could see. We don't need this part right here, up to right here. You just press the dot. You want a dot. That's your local one. That's the first one that SQL Server makes. So when you actually try to start creating this database, you ain't gonna see it. So let's Control Save that. I'll S that. I'm trying to use the other ones and I can't get it on the SQL database, so I deleted my last video just to redo this video for y'all. So now we're gonna talk about database creations and add migrations and data annotations. Now, for some of y'all, you're not gonna see this data annotation here. So let's just delete that for now, and let's go and save this here. And I'm not gonna delete it for the models on the chef. I deleted everything out, but you know what? Let's delete both of these just in case. So this is the one that has more stuff to it. So let's actually delete it. Control S, and I'll show you what we're gonna do. First of all, let's add a migration right now. Add migration initial. All right. This migration initial is nothing. It means nothing, but just hopefully it works. So I could explain why we're gonna do data annotations. So I want you guys to see this migration. So first of all, when you don't do anything and you don't give max like a max number of stuff of a string characters, you get automatically put to nav varchar max. So and then it's nullable, it's true, meaning like it doesn't matter if they have a first name. So this scheme right here is like, all right, this is the table and what we want to put in the table. So like I showed you Excel spreadsheet, you're gonna have like, we'll worry about that at the end, but you're gonna have on the top the columns here, and then every row is gonna be, filling where the columns were at. Unfortunately, we don't want it to be nullable most of the stuff, and we also don't want it to be max because max is like a 2 GB section of that, and we don't want 2 GB for a first name. And then when you upscale it to do real world scenario stuff, you know what's gonna happen? Yes, it'll crash. And like two cars going in the same lane, 50 miles an hour together, and boom, and the whole computer goes blank. Okay, the computer don't do that. You know what I'm saying? So we're trying to debug it before it gets too buggy for the future. And this is how you do it right here. You know what I'm saying? Let me get some more gain right there. Okay. Bam, he told me no. Son. He always said, son, oh, I kicked it. So what we're going to do, we're going to actually delete the migrations. Yeah, don't save it. And then we're going to delete them anyway because we're going to redo them after we get our annotations in. And the reason I deleted those other ones is because I just wanted to show you some stuff. So the first thing I want to put is key, because sometimes you have an integer and the first one ID should be the right primary key, and that's, if you name it like this, sometimes it's like, I don't know. So you put key there, it says without a shadow of a doubt that's what it is. So you see how I deleted that? We're just gonna add that back up in there. We're gonna show you the data annotation schema after. So let's put one enter. Let's get this bad boy right there. This is kind of like where we want to be. Let's do this right here. Bam. And then one more. So data annotations are in there. One of the things we want to put is required. What required does, it says, yes, we want this in our database. We want you to require it in the front end, not just the back end. So it's like, yo, front end. If you don't put nothing in, yo, you wrong. So when we put it to the database, it has something in there. It doesn't want it to be nullable. That's what that means. Second, we definitely want a max length. We don't want these bad boys, these first names, to be no more than 50 characters, and that's only because I saw Ganes Antamanakupo. So we're doing that for that one. I like to use a display right here, and what display does, it allows me to do this and display. Oh, not display, first name. So in the front end, in the next video, you're gonna see this in action. So that's what we want. I just press Control S because this is what I want for first name and last name. So let's just copy this right here, and let's paste it right here and put last. So when they see it, it's the last. There's not much you want to put in that. So let's save that. And let's come over here to email. Email got a little bit more stuff. We want to put like at least 350 characters because if Makupo, at gmail.com, that's about 190,000 words, right? Letters right there. So so we want to put email. So when we see it in the front as a label, we're going to put ASP-4. And I can show you that real quick before we go any further. So let's go to home. Oh yeah, I forgot I made this. So let's just do this and this, and I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna tell you what I did. Oh, I think I did it last time for the setup. Okay, so we want to come here to this layout. As a matter of fact, what am I doing? We could have just went right there to the header right here, and it actually see it says ASP area. We don't really use that one, but the controller, the action. We're gonna actually have a 4 somewhere in here. And what this is basically saying is, this is the home controller, and this is the action, and the action in the controller, which we will get into in the next video. That's how we use it. We use ASP stuff, because it's ASP core, MVC core type stuff. So the next thing we want to put in here is we want a data type, right? We want them to know that the data type we want in here is an email address. So, and I don't know why, but I put email address. But I'm also going to put a regular expression for this so we don't go all crazy about it. And that's kind of all we need there. Let's do that. And for the password, I know our password should be no more than 8 to 32 characters. But if we give it a max length of 32 characters as we put it in and we call hashing the password, what's going to happen is it's going to say no, son. So we want, I want like 1,000. That's what I put, even though it's probably like more like 500. I'm just gonna put 1,000 just in case somebody has a long password and hopefully don't mess it up. You definitely want to change this to password, and you got it. So on the front end, when you put data type and you put data type dot password, it's gonna make it look like, hey, the instead of having like this is your password, instead of having that, it's gonna be this. That's basically what it does for you. So it hides your password. And let me see. We definitely want a minimum length of 8. So we're going to put a min length of 8. And the reason I'm doing that is because, that's what we want to do. But when we hash it, even if it's like 2 letters, it might be 8. But we definitely going to make it hash. So it's going to be crazy. Alright, just follow along. That's it for that one, and that's kind of like what we want for the confirmed password, but the confirmed password is going to be a little bit different. So let's do this. Required. We don't need the max or minimum length because it has to match, and we're also going to put this new one called not mapped, and this is where you get your data annotation schema, and that's basically just saying, as you see, added it to this top that I deleted. Basically, what this is saying is, yo, don't put me in there. And we want this to say confirm password, so we just add confirm, save this. I press Control S just now. We want a data type of password, so it could, be like, okay, we don't want to see that. But the last thing we want to do, and this is what makes the reason why I love .NET over most other ones, is because you could just put a password here, and if you press comma and then put error message, right? Your error message could be this did not confirm. Hold on. Confirm. How do you spell confirm? I mean, it gives you your own stuff. It gives it its own stuff, but did not match. And I go to the end. You don't need nothing there, but you don't have to put this error message at all. Okay, so that makes that look awesome. And the reason we put in required because that's a annotation saying, yo, you gotta put this in even though it's not going into the database. Alright, now come down here and this list of recipes we don't have to worry about it because it's not gonna go in the database right away because once you create a recipe, it's gonna give you a 111 like I showed you before. But we'll get into that when we actually can see it. Let's Control S this. And that's pretty much enough of this one. So we're gonna go into the login one, and we basically gonna kind of do the same thing, right? There's gonna be a couple of differences though. I'm gonna press Control V here. I'm gonna get rid of this email. I'm going to get rid of this password. I'm going to Control X here and Control V here, and then delete all that nonsense right there and press enter. And we can delete this one, and there you go. A difference is we do not need this because we don't need a max or minimum here, because now for the login model, it's gonna go into, in the next video we'll show you, it'll go into the way, you know, it'll go into how we hash it and how we get the stuff from the context from the database and bring it back you gotta use your hand, bring it back. I think that means want in sign language. I'm not almost sure. And what's gonna happen is gonna just grab the information, see if the information matches, like the email and or the password, and then it's gonna allow you to log into a session, which is why we set up the session. So let's Control S that. This one's done. Chef is done. Now this one is kind of like the same thing, except we got key here, and I don't think I deleted the data annotation here. So I did, like a dummy. So let's just put that there, and you know, we kind of could Control V, and this one does not need a minimum length, and it's not a password, so let's get rid of that. It needs a max length though. It's required because we want a name for it, but we don't need 1,000. We could just get 50. And this is the recipe name, right? You gotta spell it right. And the funny, we don't need nothing for ID. That's not going out there. So we're gonna copy this because the other one had too much stuff in it, and we're gonna paste it here. And we're gonna give it about 5,000 characters here, because this one is the ingredients, and in the ingredients, you know, they might have a lot of ingredients. So if you have like I don't know the names of stuff, onions, potatoes, sweet peppers. I mean, that's a lot of characters right there, and then you gotta, you know, do all that good stuff. So honestly, that's all we need for that. And this one I'm gonna give it at least, you know, 15,000, because 2 gigs, you know, 15,000 characters, not 2 gigs worth of characters. And we definitely not gonna leave it recipe name. We're gonna go to directions. You gotta remember how to spell directions. The reason we're giving it more, because you might need more directions in there. So with that being completed, well, we don't need to worry about this because this is that one-to-one connection. This is the, I'll show you in a second when we redo the initial migration. So all this is taken care of. Everything's gangster. And once again, just like the other one, we want to know when the recipe was created and when it was updated. So we Control S this, and now we could try to do add migration. Let's go right here, and we're gonna say initial. Oh, you can't. Don't skip it because it won't work. You can't have a space. Initial migration for Mel's Kitchen. And I know it's long, but you know it's easier to understand that than IMFK, FMK or whatever. And let's see if it works again. Sometimes it would not work. Okay, so with this migration, you see it says false for nullable, meaning you have to add something in there. With the chef IDs and the primary keys, it's always going to be like 1, and then it's going to add 1 for every. For the first one is 1, 1, and 1, and then the next person is 2, because it's going to add an extra 1 to every one. Is going to, you know, when you're doing for loops. So there you go. So with that said, you see right here, you got the chef ID as the primary key. You come down to the, and you notice you don't see any recipes here, come down here, you will see the recipe maker, the chef ID. And the reason why that's important is because the chef ID for recipe maker is important because it's the foreign key. So it gives you that one to many idea going on in there. So you got one chef who could make many recipes, but only one recipe can be part of one chef's thing. Even though your ID, your recipe and my recipe might be meatball sandwiches, but you might put paprika or something like that in it, and I don't eat that, so I wouldn't put that in it. It might be good. I don't know. So that's what makes it easy. So because I put the dot, it will not be in here like I was trying to explain earlier. It shouldn't be in any of these databases. So let's just double check and make sure. See, it's not in there, and you come here and it shouldn't be in here either. Now let's go see if it worked. I put this here. Hey. So we're gonna manage our stuff. It should be that one. That's my main one, and that's the dot. That's my defaulted one. We didn't do update database, so we're not gonna see it in there, right? We only did okay. So we gotta put update database, and let's make sure it works. Now, hopefully, this says done, and we don't have to go to stuff. Yes, so sometimes you might see things and it might not work. If your computer was slower like my laptop and was kept messing up, sometimes your dependencies packages, the packages for dependencies might delete. Now you see this web code generator design, that automatically gets implemented once you start doing this stuff. So we could go see if it's here again. We could come here and see if it's in here. Let's wait for it to pop up. It's still not in here. We could refresh this just in case, and it's still not in there, which is fine. But if we refresh this, it should be in here now. Okay, so there's Mel's Kitchen. Now we click on the tables. All right, when we click on tables, we could click on this arrow and go to columns. In here you will see everything as I mentioned before, how we created it. But if you right click and put select the top 1,000 rows, which we have nothing in there, so it doesn't matter what it selects. You will see that it select top, and this is just a database query with SQL. It's really easy to do sometimes. Sometimes it get very complicated. But you see in the bottom over here, let's see if we can make this look bigger. I guess not. Let's see if we have the results. Let's put this like 200%. That's not what I wanted to see at 200%. What's wrong with you? Page setup, we could put, we don't really care. It's not what we want. We want it to do, it doesn't matter. What you see is a chef ID, first name, last name, kind of like I showed you in that Excel spreadsheet. And what's going to happen here is that's the table we just added. So we created a database, all right? That's all this stuff. That is your context. And in the context, this created the database. And then this added the tables. These two lines added the tables into the database in the order of how we wanted our models to look. And like I said, if you want to go ahead and do that other stuff, it's not going to work that well. I'm glad I got this to work, and I realized that it was my mistake, and I'm glad I redid this video, because that other video was like 40 minutes trying to look for how to do this. So this is only we need at 150% so you can see it better. I'm pretty sure we could look at the windows, and let's see. What window is this? I wish I knew what this one was. So 0 rows affected. Okay, so our next video should be how we actually add stuff to the database, and we're going to be able to see it in the front end and on that as well. So one of the things we are going to do is we are going to use this chef context with this chef controller. So let me teach you a secret real quick, and I hope this works. Sometimes I do something and it doesn't work properly, so let's make this work. In order to an easy way to make a view, and let's close all this stuff up. An easy way to make a view inside a controller is actually to right click and add view. Now what this is gonna do in the views or down here is gonna create a different controller called Chef. So for the home and shared here, it's gonna see another folder called Chef. I believe, I hope that's what should happen. So let's try to make that happen. We're gonna go with the razor view. We're not gonna do empty. We're gonna go view add. It's not a partial, and we're gonna call it the index. The index of the chef context is gonna be how where we do the login and registration. So we're gonna have registration and login partials. So let's just add that and see if this works. You can keep this right here, and then let's just add that and see if it works. If it doesn't work, I'm blaming all the audience. No, I'm joking. But this should work, and let's look over here. Keep your eyes over here in the views, unless it like closes it. But you see it has chef, and now I got an index right here, and that's what this is. So bam, that works. So in our layouts, as you saw, when I have the home and the header partial, what we could do here is we could change this to chef, right? And we could change this to index. And we save this, right? And what's in our index right now? It should just say index, but we're gonna put the word chef index so we could see it. And the title could be, I don't really care to give it a different title. The first title of all of them should be the same, Mel's Kitchen. So yeah, so that's another thing you could fix in the layout. When it says title, Mel's Kitchen, we don't need this dot. We don't want it to be anything else but Mel's Kitchen. You know what I'm saying? And we don't even need this view data title. We don't care about that right there. You know why? Because we want every single one of them to say Mel's Kitchen. All right. So let's just press play to see if this worked. Now it's gonna say privacy, so I forgot to change that. If it works, if it doesn't crash. So it says privacy and it says chef index. So that's how you do that. And linking. It's so much easier than doing Ahref and stuff like that. It makes my life so much easier. So we close that out. And that's the setup. Let me see, where we at? 22 minutes. So as you see, we created the index. And before we go on, I'm not going to do any coding right here, right now. But I will do some simple, let me see where we at. This is the header partial. Oh, you know what? Let's go back into that header partial. And let's just change privacy to chef. The login or register. That sounds good, right? Register, son. We're gonna save that so it don't say privacy, so we know what we're talking about. And we're gonna add a couple more views, but we're gonna go to the controller of chef, and we're gonna add some gets. And the cool thing is that you don't really need to add this, but I like to make sure it knows it's a get, even though it makes no difference. So the public iAction result, and we're gonna name it login, and we're gonna just do this right here. And this login, when we have the thing, is gonna be good to go. Now it's actually saying return, and all we have to do is return the view, and that should work. But it's gonna, so we're gonna put return partial view. Let's see. Type in partial view result or partial view, and that's what it is, login. So in order to have a login partial view, we gotta add it. And we're gonna go to razor view again, add, and we're gonna create a partial view, and it's already gonna give us the name, empty without model, or we could have let's leave it empty without model, and let's put add. We're gonna worry about that create one. We're gonna because we're gonna put a create one. It's gonna give us some information. Hopefully this works right, and we'll see login right there as a partial. And what we're gonna put right here is a H1 tab, and we in the login partial. That's so we could see it later, and then we're gonna put some BRs like that, and then that's it. And let's give it like, I don't know what just happened there. Let's Control C 1 2 3, just so we can have a different one. underneath it, it'll show. Actually, we don't need it here. We need it in the index. So we good here, and now we're gonna make another one, an HTTP. Let's close that out. Yeah, let's get the get, and inside here, we're gonna go public. You know what? Let's get some enters here, man. 6-foot rule, son. iAction. Let's try that again. iAction results. We're gonna put register here, and the register we will pretty much do the same thing as that one, and we're gonna return partial view, and we're gonna nope, we're gonna get out of there. And because we're in the home controller, when we do the partial view stuff, it should be a lot easier. Should be. So I never done this before, so we're gonna test it with each other. Empty without model. Let's put a create, and I was gonna ask you for what model class, and we're gonna put chef. And what data context class? Well, there's only one. And then let's just put add. I've never done this before, so let's see what this looks like. If it gets messed up, well. If it like messes up, we just won't do it, and we will just do it like we did index, because I know what to do after that. See, this an error. Yeah, so I don't know why that is. So let's just put blank here, empty. That didn't work. So it's gonna come up with a register partial. I like to write the word partial, but since this is gonna literally be the only 3 things in the chef index, and we know it's a partial, and if you really want to write a partial here, you can literally do it in here. Like this is a partial, and this is what a comment looks like here. So if you just start typing stuff and press Control question mark when you do if you have the Visual Studio Code and bindings, keyboard bindings, that's what this looks like. So in here, just so check it out, we're gonna put H2, H1. Let's put H1 and put inside the register partial, and we are gonna put the in the chef controller. What we will do here, we will put that this is a partial view, just to let anybody know if they're gonna take over your data or whatever. And we'll Control C that, and we'll do that same thing for here. Save it. And now last thing we want to do before we go to the next video is to see everything. So let's put a div here. It's for partial. No, you gotta do that partial. Marsha. And this one we should be able to just put login.cshtml. And what I don't like, if you can't press tab out of that, but you can do that. And we can just copy this. And a lot of people say that that you should be doing this to show that it's a partial, or even naming it partial like I did the other one. And that's facts, so listen to them. But this is how I do it, because we put that note in there so they should know it's a partial. And once again, let's do that BR/, and let's copy this one here, and proceed 1, 2, 3, and that should put it underneath it some. And let's just do that 1, 2, 3 here, so it won't be so close and it's connected to each other. All right, now because we are in the chef controller, this should be fine. We shouldn't need an ASP4 and stuff like that in here. But I've been doing this for like a long time, 2 weeks. I'm telling you, sometimes it got errors. All right, let's go here. Let's check it out. We don't know if it's gonna work. Everything went beautifully. Look, we in the login partial inside the register partial, so that looks beautiful. That's login and register, home, and this is also home. So I don't know why we have 2 home buttons. I'm really gonna delete this because it should be like a logo, and I will re-get all this stuff. So this stuff is inside the index and the home, and we're definitely gonna move all that stuff out of there, make this look pretty for later on. But let's stop this video and we'll start doing the stuff to get the database the stuff like the users inside the database, and then when we're done, we'll also get we start going for recipes and a little bit of style. I'm not going to go too crazy with style, but I will be doing the style. But it's 30 minutes, so let's stop this one.